So once the object has been created, and while creating the object itself, within the parenthesis you are supposed to pass some values here. So for example, the first value is going to be always considered for the first attribute here, hour. The second value is going to be overridden with the second attribute here, and same as with the third here. Suppose if any of the attribute is missing here, that is going to be filled with the default value that has been set while defining the init method. That means t dot hour is 9 and t dot minute is 15 here, and t dot second is 0. This is how the init method is invoked when you create the object for that particular class, and similarly you can follow the init method for the any of the classes. So as an exercise, you have to write a init method for the point class. If you remember, the point class has the two attributes, that is x and the y value as an option, and you need to use these attributes as optional parameters and assigns them to the corresponding attributes. So try it with yourself. If not, at the end of this video I'm going to discuss regarding all these exercise solutions. So coming to the next method, that is implicitly called when you use a print method while printing the any object. So the name of the method is str method, and how it is defined is two underscores followed by the str and followed by the two underscores. Str is a special method like init method that is supposed to return a string representation of an object. So again, as a init method, you are not supposed to explicitly call the str method. So by default, this str method is invoked when you use this print built-in method with the any of the object of the any class here. So how to define this? If you say it as a method, again it has to be done within the class here. So for with the help of the keyword def, and the name of the method is two underscores str followed by the two underscores, and it is going to take only one parameter, that is the object of the class. So as a definition to print, it is same as how you did with the previous example. So return the format specifiers needs to be used followed by the format fillers, that is self dot hour, self dot minute, and the self dot second. So when you print an object, Python invokes the str method. So you can see here we have created an object for the class time, and while creating the object itself we have passed the value as a 9:45. So at this statement, when you execute only this statement, the init method is invoked implicitly, and the values for the hour is set as 9 and minutes 45 and the seconds as a 0. So followed to that, we have used the directly the print method, but print built-in method, but the parameter that we have passed here is the object of a class time here. So when this statement is executed with the class inside the class time, the str method is invoked implicitly by passing all these values. So that means whatever the value that has been used, that will be passed, and the way how we have printed, that is going to be displayed here. So you can see here percentage dot 2d 09 and 45, and you can see you have not passed any value for the seconds, even though it has been set as a 0. Why? Because in the init method you have used the default value for the second as a 0. So this is how you can use the str method in any of the classes when you want to represent the objects in the form of a string. So again, as an exercise, write a str method for the point class, create a point object and print it. So we'll see it later. So coming to the next concept of the object oriented programming language is operator overloading. So I'll not in detail discuss regarding what is operator overloading, why it is necessary, or when you can use it. Already you have gone through this concept and you know the almost all the theoretical concept of the operator overloading. So in this video I'll just discuss you how it is used with respect to the Python here. So basically when you say the operator overloading is invoked by the any programming language, when you want to use the operators, the mathematical operators to perform on the different kind of the operands, or you can say the different types of the values over there. So at that time you can go for using the plus operator, sorry, the operator overloading. So as it is a method, so once you say it is a method, it has to be defined within the class. So sorry, I have not used any indentation while writing the body of the methods here. So do follow the indentation. It is necessary in any of the methods or the functions here. So you can see here the example has been considered for the plus operator, which is named with the keyword add, again which is written with the two underscores add followed by the two underscores. So which is going to accept the two parameters on which you want to perform the addition here. So the here in this example, both the parameter and the both two parameters are the objects of the class time here. So let's start from here and we'll discuss how this operator overloading is invoked here. So the start is a one of the object that has been created for the class time, and 9 and 45 two values has been set, though the definitions of the init and the str has been not taken here. With reference to the methods that we have defined in the previous slides, we'll assume that all the init and the str methods are going to be executed even in with this example also. So here the object has been created with the two values passed, by which the init method is invoked, and the hour and minutes are being set with the values 9 and 45, and seconds being taken the default value as a 0. So another object has been created here for the duration with the name as a duration. Again two values and passed here, as the hour being a 1 and the minutes being the 35, and again the second being set as a 0 default value here. So as a print, so what we are doing here within the print, we are doing a plus operation between the two values, the values being the objects of the class time. The start is also the object of a class time, and duration is also the object of a class time. But here the plus is being used. That means you want to overload this plus operator with the sum operation or the sum computation. So that is being done with the function name as a add. Suppose if it is a plus, by default within the class, if you have defined the add function with the two underscores, then this is going to be invoked implicitly. Again you need not have to call it, so it is overloaded with the method known as a add here. So self is considered as a start, and here the other is considered as a duration. So being a computation to this body, it is left to you how you want to perform the computation. So here what has been done here is the object, the object of the class time is converted to the integer first, and then the object of the class time, that is duration, again it is also being converted to the integer. Then the addition is performed, but while printing this addition, which is in terms of the integer, again it has to convert it back to the time with the function int to time and time to int. Assuming that you already know what these functions will do, time to int and int to time, we are explaining this example here. If you are not sure, please refer the previous videos. So addition is performed at time, what is returned is that will be displayed as a result here. This is said to be as the operator overloading. So you might be having a question that for this plus operator, I told you that you are supposed to use the add here, but what if I want to use the different mathematical operators where it needs to be overloaded with some other definitions within the class here? So to know about more about this, I request you to the, just a minute. So to know more about this, to know more about what the method names to be taken in order to overload the different mathematical operators, I request you to go through this document where you'll get to know the names that is being associated with the different mathematical operators, which needs to be taken exactly in the same way in your program. So for the addition, we have taken it as a two underscores add followed by the two underscores. So coming to the next concept, type based dispatch. So let's see what is this type based dispatch. So in this addition, what we have done, we have taken very simple values to be passed, which we know that already with the operands of the plus operator are the objects itself. Both the operands are the objects itself, so easily it is going to perform the calculation whatever you have defined here. But what is the here also it is going to take the two objects only. But while passing here, suppose if we take one operand as a object of the class and second operand being a numeric value, so in that case here what it is accepting, it is accepting the second operand and the second parameter even as a object of one class, right? So in that case you will get an error. So in order to avoid this kind of confusion or the errors, we are going to deal with the another method known as the type based dispatch, and let's see what is done in order to overcome the problem what I just discussed now. So you can see here the add function has been used, and the two values or the two parameters what it is accepting is again the objects of the class here. So but before proceeding the second operator, to make sure that whether it is an object or a numeric value, we are going to use the another built-in function known as a isInstance. So what does isInstance is going to do is it is going to accept again the two parameters, the first parameter being the instance which you want to check, and the second parameter being the object of the class for which you want to do the check. So second parameter being checked against which you want to assure that whether it is an object of that class or not. So basically what does this statement will do is it is going to check whether the other parameter is an object of the class time or not. If yes, it is going to return the result as a true. If not, it will give the result as a false here. So in case of a true, simply you are going to call the function return self dot add underscore time, where it has been defined below this. So self dot add underscore time by passing the other as a parameter here. That means here it is going to remain same how you want to perform the addition on the two time objects here, right? So in case of the false result, that is if the other is not an object of the class time, instead it is a numeric value, it is going to execute the else part here, which is return self dot increment. That means this part is going to be executed in case if the second operand is not an object of a class, instead it is a numeric value here. So in this case you can see the first parameter for this method is the object of a class, the second parameter is a numeric value here. So how to do the addition of an object of a time class with a numeric value, we already have discussed it. So first you need to convert this object into the integer, and then you are going to add the numeric value, and while returning the whole integer can be converted back to the time object here. So this concept is known as a type based dispatch. So in simplicity or in simple sentence, how you can define the type based dispatch is before performing the any operation on the objects, you are going to check the type of the object. If it is an object, then you are going to perform the definition whatever you have defined to be done on the two objects. If the any one of the operand is not an object, if it is the other type, then you are going to check for that instance, and then you are going to proceed to the operations that is associated with the object and the any other type here. So coming to the polymorphism, just allow me to discuss what is polymorphism here. So the many of the functions that we have discussed in the earlier chapters, that is in dictionary, so which is written for the strings here. For this for example, creating a dictionary for keeping a count on the frequency of the each word from a file. So this is how it is being done. So if it is being defined here, so it can also be if you execute the same function, this function on the different data types apart from the string, if you work it on the a list, tuples, dictionaries, as long as the elements are hashable, it is going to work. Even it is going to create a dictionary for that also. So such functions that work with the several types are called the polymorphic, and polymorphism can facilitate the code reuse. So in the further videos I'll discuss with the programming examples of this chapter.